President Obama talking about the border crisis, what he called a humanitarian crisis, is meeting with Governor Perry of Texas and the local faith leaders in the Dallas area with whom he also met. About 22 minutes, much longer than was expected. His remarks were to take about 5 minutes. He obviously extended those remarks. Listening to him throughout and joining us now is Congressman Bob Goodlatte. He is the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. He has been instrumental in laying the foundation for leadership on immigration reform in the Republican Party and in the House, passing out of his committee, the Judiciary Committee, 4 bills. Congressman, good to have you with us. Your reaction to the president's call simultaneously for expeditious passage of the supplemental requesting $3.7 billion and comprehensive immigration reform once again.
Well, first of all, Lou, I'm glad that he met with Governor Perry. My committee was instrumental in making available to Governor Perry some of the ideas he shared with the president. But I also want to have your viewers step back for a minute and think about what the president asked for. $3.7 billion and ultimately passage of the Senate comprehensive immigration bill, which wouldn't solve this problem, cause a massive surge of our border, as people saw that if 11 or 12 million people got a special pathway to citizenship, they'd want to be next. So there are many things the president can do right now, and what he still doesn't get is that his actions with DACA, as he referred to it there, with not investigating fraudulent asylum claims and doing other things that he could be doing right now to fix this problem, those things have sent the message to South America to cause the problem. So yes, the Congress should be prepared to do a targeted, narrow appropriation supplemental on a temporary basis to address the legitimate concerns of solving the problem, and narrow, targeted tweaks to the 2008 law. But there are many things the president could do right now before any of that happened that could solve the problem that he created by his actions that he's taken to this point.
Unlike the president, you have been to the border. You led a bipartisan delegation to the border. You know what's going on there. You know about the positioning of our Border Patrol agents. You know that even though we have almost 21,000 Border Patrol agents, more than double what we had a decade ago, that they are positioned in such a way that the border remains absolutely a sieve. Porous doesn't even begin to adequately describe the ease with which illegal immigrants, drug smugglers, human smugglers, and potentially terrorists could enter this country, correct?
That's absolutely correct. And there are measures that the president could take and tweaks that the Congress could pass to make sure that national wildlife refuges and other things along the border like that, government land, wouldn't be off limits to our Border Patrol agents, who, by the way, are doing a very good job when they are able to spend their time on the border and not babysitting these children. So the fact of the matter is that the president should go to the border and see firsthand and not just send other people to be there.
Perhaps.
And the president should go to Mexico and to Central America to impress upon those governments how much they need to participate in stopping these children from ever getting to our border in the first place.
Where is the president getting some of his information? He said the only place where these children are showing up is the Rio Grande Valley sector in Texas. I'd like to just put up quickly a map, if we may, to show our audience the surge in young illegal immigrants entering this country, flooding the United States border. In Texas, Rio Grande up by the largest amount, 178%. Laredo up 13%. Del Rio 79%. Big Bend also in Texas, as is El Paso, 59% higher. El Paso 33%. In Arizona, the Yuma sector is up 39%. In California, the San Diego and Del Centro areas are also up by startling percentages, 59% and 41%. He said one sector. Who in the world told him that?
Well, there is no doubt that one sector is getting the greatest pressure,
right.
But this is a problem that is occurring all across our border because of the fact that the word has gotten out that this president is not enforcing our immigration laws with regard to children, and not just children, with families that are also showing up at the border in almost as large a number as the unaccompanied minors. And so they're going to keep on coming. The Border Patrol agents are the best people to ask how to stop this. He should go there and ask the guys on the line, and what they'll tell him is that deterrence is the only way to stop this from happening. They need to make sure that the children don't get there, make sure that when families do come, that asylum claims are investigated for fraud. Studies show that 70% of political asylum claims have suspicion of fraud involved, but they rubber stamp the overwhelming majority of the cases. Much could be done right now without the president violating his oath of office. He is the chief executive of the United States. He has laws under his guidance right now that he could enforce. And yes, we could do tweaks in the Congress, and we should, but that should not be used as an excuse not to do what he's supposed to be doing right now.
It's being used, though, Mr. Chairman, far more than an excuse. This president, as I listened to him, and I want to hear your interpretation, said that he won't do the right thing. He won't solve the problem. He will not establish border security. He will not enforce immigration laws because he's holding hostage the supplemental and comprehensive immigration reform. He used an expression over and over, Mr. Chairman, that if you're more interested in solving the problem than you are politics, then you'll do the right thing. He then proceeded not to even suggest that he was prepared to actually protect our border, to establish a secure border, and to return illegal immigrants to the countries from which they originate. Your reaction?
Well, I think, again, if the president took a tough stand right now regarding this, that would be the very, very strong first step that would stop the flow coming and begin the process of making sure that these children are sent home to their native countries. And not, by the way, what they're doing right now, which is reuniting them with parents who left their children in these countries, sometimes years ago, sometimes weeks or months ago, come to the United States illegally, and then pay $4,000 to $12,000 to a human trafficker, a coyote, a smuggler, to bring them through a most dangerous process where they're killed. Many, many of the young girls are raped. We have a problem with them being diverted into sex trafficking. We have a problem with them being injured, bringing diseases into the country as well. And yet, the response right now from this administration is, well, we'll reunite them with those parents in the United States. Well, if those parents were United States citizens and they had done something like that to subject their children to that, they'd get a visit from social services and be at risk of having their parental rights terminated.
Yeah, and I think we need to be candid too. Many of the people who are acting as custodians in this are claiming their parents or their relatives. There is not adequate resources in all of immigration and customs enforcement to actually check out who these people are, where they're being domiciled, what the risks are of the family environment or the environment in which these young children are now living. It is a first-class mess, and it is a government that has simply broken down under this administration, in my opinion. Do you disagree?
I agree with you, and I think that we are reaping a tsunami at our border because of the president's policies. It is an administration-made disaster. The president needs to step up and lead in the solution to this problem. And yes, Congress does need to give targeted funds where they're going to be used to stop the problem and create the deterrence. And Congress does need to make tweaks to the law to make sure that the Border Patrol and ICE can fully do the deterrence. But there's much that he can do right now that he's not doing.
Mr. Chairman, we thank you for being with us, as always. And Bob Goodlatte. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lou.